Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. If you are a new subscriber, welcome, and if you are a return subscriber, welcome back. Everything that I use in this video will be listed down below. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss whenever I post another video. Let's get straight into it. Right now, all I'm doing is carving out the bottom portion of my brows as well as concealing my eyelids. You can use a eyeshadow primer or just use whatever concealer you may have on hand. To blend out this concealer, I'm going in with this accent brush. I like to use this brush when blending out any type of concealer because it's like the perfect shape. And I just went back in with a little more concealer because I felt like I didn't have enough coverage towards that part of my lid. And before applying any translucent powder, I'm going to make sure I remove any type of creasing that I may have as well as any excess product. Then I dust away my powder. And I added on some eyeshadow shields because I wanted the outer corners to be nice and sharp. And now I'm just doing the same steps on the opposite side. And now I'm going in with this Fluorescent eyeshadow palette. It's supposed to be like a glow in the dark palette, but I think only certain shades glow. But I'm going in first with this green shade at the bottom. And I'm going to apply this pretty much like if I was doing a transition color. And I am going to build this shade up so that the colors really show through and pop. But for this, I feel like I should have added a white eyeshadow base underneath so that the colors really show through that way. But maybe next time that I use this palette, I'll keep that in mind. But as you see, I'm building that color up, and that green is so pretty, y'all. Like, is the perfect shade of green. And if you haven't noticed, lately I've been going off of the color scheme of my nails, so I just decided to try something new. I was trying to decide what shade to do, and I decided to go in with this blue shade. And with this blue shade, you do have to build it up a lot more than what you would with that green because this is a lighter blue. But these two colors together are so pretty. I love the way blue complements green and vice versa. And I'm just building it up, doing it the same exact way as if I was doing a transition color, just applying a thin line. And it's okay if you go a little bit over because you're going to be applying some concealer anyway, so it's fine. But you don't want to purposely add too much, especially towards the top, because you won't be able to really go back and fix that. And as I switch back and forth between the colors, I am making sure that I blend out the middle portion where both of the shades meet so that I don't have any harshness. Instead of going directly in with my concealer, I'm taking a little bit of micellar water to remove some of the excess powder from the eyeshadow. You don't have to do it this way. I just didn't want the green or the blue to show through the concealer. Now I'm going to cut my crease using the guide method, which is just applying some concealer as close to your lash line as you possibly can, and then looking up. It will automatically give you a line where the concealer will stop, and you will just follow that along the way. To help draw that concealer down a little bit, I'm going to use this accent brush, and I'm just going to lightly tap over everywhere that I applied that concealer. And I'm going to do this before going in with any type of eyeshadow or powder. Because I love glitter, I'm going to go in with this light green glitter. And I'm going to apply this directly on top of that green just to give it a little extra. With that, you do have to build this glitter up just a little bit because it didn't really show through the way I wanted it to. but I didn't want it to be as bold either. I wanted to show through enough that if you were right in front of me that you'll be able to see it. With that same brush, I'm going to go in with this blue shade and I'm going to apply that directly over that blue. Now I'm going directly in with that lighter blue shade that I used earlier and building that up. Not going all the way up to the top. I'm leaving a little bit of space in between so that that concealer shows through. But I'm building it up and stopping midway, so when I apply the green that I have them layer on top of each other so they blend in and I don't have any harsh lines. And now I'm going to go back into that green that I used earlier and doing the same steps, building that color up. And again, not going all the way up because I want some of that concealer to show through. Now I'm going to apply a thin layer of this black eyeliner, getting as close to my lash line as I possibly can, not making it bold because for this look, as you can see, it's not really that really bold look. And I want to make sure that that line is as straight as possible, so I'm really taking my time when doing so. And I should have left this black eyeliner the way it was, but I wanted it to show up a little bit more. And I applied a little too much towards that front part of my eye. So what I did was just go in with this green eyeliner and I applied it on top of that black, leaving a little bit of that black to show through, but I tried to pretty much cover up the mistake that I made. And it did look good with this green. And I also did the same thing with a blue shade, which you will see later on. To clean up the top portion of my brows, I'm just taking a concealer that's close to my skin tone and I'm applying a thin layer, just making sure that I clean it up enough to the point that they look like sisters, because your brows are supposed to be sisters, not twins, but I like mine to be close enough. And then I'm blending out the edges of that concealer, so when I go to apply my foundation, everything blends together. I'm going to go in with this accent brush to clean up the edges of this concealer so that I can apply my foundation to my forehead and I don't have any harsh lines. You want to make sure everything is nicely blended before moving on. Now I'm just applying my foundation, and it may look like I applied a lot, but I really applied a little at a time, just making sure that I blend that out really well. Since I already was working on the foundation, I decided to apply foundation on this side of my face right now versus waiting until the other eye was finished, just to see how everything will look once everything is put together. And I'm applying a little foundation at a time, building it up when needed. And the video is sped up just a little bit, so it may look like I'm applying a lot, but it's really not. To highlight under my eye, I'm going in with my lighter concealer first and then the dark one. I applied the lighter one in the inner corner first because that's the area that I wanted it to be brighter. While I let that dry down a little bit, I'm going in with my bronzer. A little goes a long way with this bronzer because it is very pigmented. To help blend out that bronzer, I'm going in with my foundation brush with nothing on it and just blending out the edges. Now I'm taking that accent brush to blend out that concealer, starting with the darker shade first, making sure that I don't press too hard to remove any of that product. You want more product on there so you get more coverage. The longer you let concealer dry, the more coverage you will get, but you don't want it to dry too long to the point that it does not move. Going in with my foundation brush to blend out those edges so that again everything flows together, and then going back in with that concealer brush to help blend out just a little bit more before setting it with powder. Now I'm just setting it with a little bit of translucent powder just to make sure that I set everything into place, and then I'm going to bake just a little bit. And if you have dry skin like me, you don't want to bake for too long because that will just enhance the dryness. So you want to just let it sit for a few seconds and then wipe it away. And I'm applying some of that powder underneath that bronzer as well to give me that more crispy look. And then as you can see, I did not let that sit for too long before dusting all that powder away. I also added a little bit of pressed powder underneath my eye to kind of tone down that brightness as well. I'm going to repeat the same steps on the opposite side, but this time I'm starting off with that blue shade first. And as you can see, it did not show up the same way as there's green. So that's why I stated before that you might want to use a white concealer versus your regular go-to concealers, because you will have to build these colors up a lot more. But it still turned out cute, but you want to make sure that you follow the same exact steps that you did on the other side. I'm also going to use that darker shade on my forehead because for this look, I did not want a super bright highlighted look. And as you can see, it highlighted enough. And I'm just blending that out, making sure that everything is blended before setting it with some translucent powder. You also want to make sure you set your eyebrows as well because you don't want the rest of your face to be matte and your eyebrows to be shiny. This also helps set that concealer around your brows as well. Whatever powder is left on that sponge, that's what I use to kind of wipe away some of that gloss from my lips before going in with this brown lip liner. And I wanted to keep this lip nice and simple, so I just applied a little bit of gloss on top of the lip liner, and there you have it. I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. Everything will be listed down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss whenever I post another video, and I will see you in the next one.